Wonder if Well, hello there, Chick Chat. We're back with another live today, but we got our week cap. It's going to be our weekly updates on our shows that we watch, mainly Sister Wives, Gypsy Rose, Love is Blind, eventually, maybe like Perfect Match, like the shows that we normally cover. Teen Mom, especially because there's always Teen Mom news out there. But yeah, a lot seems to go on outside of the show. So we just kind of want to hear whatever we got going on during the week. We just want to put it all in a bow for you.
I don't know if I actually shared this with you yet. Maybe you saw it on your own, but we do tend to tag each other in a lot of things. Did you see that there is another Ultimatum Queer Love coming out? It's official.
I did. I saw it was coming out, but I don't know when. Do you know
It's
when?
coming out around the same time that Match Me Abroad is coming out.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah.
'Cause
So
I
it
love
just made me think of it when we were mentioning, our shows, because that will be coming out. And I know we'll probably cover that in some fashion. It's always hard with the Netflix shows because they, drop in big batches and there is a lot of content to cover at one time and we're just two humans. But we have been kind of going live weekly about them. I think that that's been kind of the easiest thing to do. And lately we've been going live more often. So I think that's probably how we'll tackle them, is like a weekly live after the drops at some point. Hopefully on time, but sometimes not.
Especially Ultimatum, because they just drop so many episodes usually at once.
Right.
It gets overwhelming, but
Mhm.
yeah, so we got a few shows to talk about today. We have Teen Mom, we have Love is Blind, and we also have Gypsy news. So yeah, we got a lot to discuss. So let's get into it. So we're
So we are going to start with an unfortunate divorce.
So unfortunate.
Not very unfortunate, to be honest.
No, not very unfortunate. But Matt and Colleen are getting divorced, which who the hell didn't see that coming? I don't know. But in fact, I was worried for her at that reunion. I thought she was like experiencing Stockholm syndrome.
I thought so too. I don't know. I know they obviously probably had to have a deeper connection and deeper relationship than what was shown on the show, or it would have been really hard to see them get married and believe that that was a thing. But he was controlling from the beginning. He's always demonstrated controlling tendencies, from my opinion and what I've seen. Again, I'm aware that I'm not there all the time. I don't know what happens behind closed doors, but if he is willing to say half of the things he says on camera, I can't imagine what the man says behind closed doors. So
I honestly couldn't believe that they got married at all, because
couldn't either. That whole season, actually, I was shocked about most of those marriages.
All of them almost. But
Yes, I think that was Alexis and Brendan.
Yeah.
I
Which
was
they're still
okay
doing
with that.
good. Yeah, they just had their baby. They're still doing good. Sounds,
Yeah, they're a pretty good solid couple, I think, too.
I mean, these Love is Blind couples are dropping like flies, you guys.
They certainly are. Yeah, we're also going to talk about another breakup here soon, with Ashley and Tyler. As he's been lovingly called on the interwebs. But first, we have Colleen and Matt's
joint
divorce.
statement.
Yes. Yeah. So should we tackle this together?
Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, everyone.
You can't see it as well.
I feel like Colleen wrote this, right? I'm gonna act like Colleen wrote this. Hi, everyone. We wanted to share something personal, and this is not easy to do, but after nearly 4 years together, we've decided to end our marriage and move forward on our own paths. We've been separated for some time now. I feel like probably a long time.
I feel like over a year this woman hasn't been wearing her ring. Like, even in photos with him, she doesn't have her ring on.
Yeah. They've been having to probably play a song and dance in a facade for a while, which again is so kind of on brand with their relationship too. It just seems so fake. And
well, they never lived together either. I mean, like, they said that
they just started living together, and now
they said that, but I think that they never, I don't even know if they ever fully moved in.
That's true.
I don't
They
know.
could have separated before that. That's a fair point.
Yeah, I mean, it took way too long for them to move in. I just wasn't convinced of I just thought it was a Netflix thing. Like, yeah, they did it and said yes on the show, and then probably afterwards she was like, "What the hell did I do?" You know,
Probably,
because
yeah,
they
but it's
never.
been 5 years, right?
It's been like 3. She said they've been together nearly 4 years. I think it's really like 3-ish because I remember their season was season 3. So
Okay.
that
Yeah.
had, and I remember 2020 is when the first season aired, but obviously it was shot in 2019. But then they did like a break, obviously because of COVID. Like they couldn't shoot anything for at least a year or so. So then we didn't get that next season until like all the seasons actually start coming out back
Yeah.
to back to back in like 2022 to end of 2021.
Yeah.
So
Correct. So, continuing, they've been separated for some time and have been doing their best to work through everything privately and with care. This was an incredibly difficult decision, not one that we made lightly. Obviously, it's a divorce. It came with a lot of thought, and it's been an emotional process for both of us. We met in the most unique and unexpected way, and will always be grateful for the love and memories we shared. There's not one thing that we would change, and we yeah, right. And we continue to
yeah,
have deep
right.
respect. Sorry. And we continue to have deep respect and care for one another. Thank you to everyone who has supported us. We kindly ask for compassion. Sorry for not being compassionate as we navigate through this transition, Colleen and Matt.
Yep. I mean, I think there's some things they would change. I mean, maybe saying no at the altar, maybe one. I mean, I don't know. I never bought them as a couple. So it was just for show for me anyways. But I'm glad that she's going to not be with him anymore. She seems to be like really thriving with her girls and like on her own. So I'm glad for her for that. Yeah, he just was never it to me. But
I
I liked her
agree.
much better with Cole, but maybe we'll see where that goes.
I think he's the kind of guy that dims her light rather than lifts her up. And I think
Mhm.
she's really been I can't imagine she's, in like the entertainment industry. She's a ballerina and, all of this stuff. It's just you really need someone who supports you and lifts you up. And so I feel like she's just been fighting with this man. I mean, again, I don't know, I'm not there, but from the narrative that is shown, even when they're denying the narrative that's shown, she looks like she's a hostage. So I can't
She
buy it.
did. She looked completely Stockholmy at the reunion. It was really weird. I was
It
like,
was
wow, these
sad.
people. I was surprised that they last that much longer after the reunion, honestly, because at the reunion, I was like, yeah, this is not going to work.
Same. That is
Mhm.
that is also a good point.
And I haven't seen her ring in like a year. So they've definitely been separated for a long time.
Yeah.
Ah, Miss Omi's back.
Oh, hey.
Hi, Miss Omi. We are going to get to
Watch
our Love
out. Yes, watch out. We are watching out.
All right, so moving on from Matt and Colleen, which we're glad that they're over,
Mhm.
for both their sake. We have good news, which is Lauren and Cameron are having a bebe. Thank
Yay.
goodness. I mean, they're like the beacon of Love is Blind. I mean, they're the best couple from the series, I believe, almost, completely. I like them. Obviously, Brett and Tiffany. I like Zach and Bliss, but it's
Mhm.
just so exciting to see the first Love is Blind couple
I
having a
know.
baby. I know that Amber and Barnett also had their baby, but I feel like we've all been like tentatively waiting for Lauren and Cameron too.
Yeah, and Amber and Barnett almost don't matter because they don't involve themselves in Love is Blind stuff anymore. This is a show that you've never watched, not once. I'm glad that you're here listening to us talk about it, first of all, because that shows true love. And we are really happy that you were a first time watcher just an hour ago and you're back to listen to us talk about this.
Yeah.
Later on, we will be talking about Gypsy Rose if that's a show that you're interested in. We'll also be talking about Teen Mom as
And
well.
we're in this segment, we're getting first and out of the way. It's just,
Yeah, it'll be quick.
we're dotting our P's
I would
and
recommend Love is Blind. If you are sitting on the couch and you need a show to binge, there's a ton of content here and it's a pretty good show. I mean, a lot of people like it. So,
yeah, and you can watch whatever
thanks for
season
showing
if
love.
you wanted to. But oh yes, we got a lot of good gypsy stuff coming your way today.
Yeah,
So
yeah, we're gonna
we'll
talk
see.
about Ryan's live that
Yep.
happened just last night. And the things that led up to that live, of
Oh
course, as
yeah.
well. Not all the things, but some of the
So
things.
many things.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Yes,
So
definitely.
yeah, they're having a baby. I know that they had some fertility challenges for a while and they've been open about that, I think do you know about that?
I don't know much about that. I feel like it's been I feel like they've mentioned it on like things, but yeah, I mean, I'm just glad to see that they're finally having a baby, especially if they have been dealing with fertility stuff. It can
Mhm.
be such a challenge to finally get there, especially past a certain point. You know, we don't know.
Mhm.
Maybe Lauren's had a few miscarriages. Like, who knows what they've been going through. So, yeah,
Yeah.
just to see them so happy and so excited, I'm just happy for them. It's just good to get a little bit of good news from Love is Blind because we don't always get that. You know, it's usually people getting divorced.
Miss Omi said she's gonna try it just because we recommended it. So thank you for that. It's on Netflix, by the way.
Netflix. Actually, Ultimatum's good too. In fact, it's like
Oh
a
yeah. Mhm.
Ultimatum Queer Love we're gonna be covering when it comes out, and that's like chef's kiss of Netflix reality TV, let me tell you.
For sure,
Um,
Miss Omi, you're gonna wanna check that one out above
a
all.
lot of chaos, a lot of drama.
Oh,
Anyway,
she
so moving on from Lauren and Cameron and their beautiful baby news, we go over to Liler and Ashley, who they're getting divorced, obviously. Tyler is the one that had the kids. Hold on a second. Let's see. Miss Omi says my daughter had 3 IVFs before she finally got pregnant. That is amazing. Honestly, it can be such a challenge, but when you finally get there, you're just like
Yeah.
a sigh of relief, but you are like nervous, the whole time, like just trying to make sure you do everything right. So I totally understand that. Um, yeah, congratulations to you and your daughter.
Yeah.
You're gonna be having a little grandbaby.
Yeah.
Um, but back to Ashley and Tyler. So he was the one that had kids when he called them like he was a sperm donor, but it turned out that he was a sperm donor for his friend for the first child, but then he conceived his twins naturally. But
Mhm.
he kind of downplayed the whole situation
Yeah.
for when he was on the show. So
Yeah.
him and Ashley end up
Turns
getting
out
married.
this man was spending holidays with these sperm donor children, matching pajamas and everything, gifts, was around. He ended up actually moving in with the woman for a while, was living with her after she got a divorce with her partner, who the children were initially, sperm doned for. So, yeah,
Mhm.
there's a lot of juice when it comes to this story. And I, for one, am happy to see that they're not together anymore. I don't think anyone deserves to be with
Yeah.
Liler because nobody deserves to be with T Rash. And that's what this man has shown himself to be.
Yeah, and he let this woman go to bat for him. Before the videos came out of the baby mama, she did say, so we actually had this on a previous live. I went live about this when the baby mama put out videos explaining the whole situation. Well, before that, apparently Ashley didn't know because these all kind of dropped in tangent with the reunion, which was filmed before. So this woman went to bat for him. She
Yeah.
asked him beforehand, "Is there anything I need to know?" He says no, and then she goes on podcast. She does all the
Mhm.
things to bat for this guy
Mhm.
just to be put in her place once these videos came out. She was silent after that.
Yeah, she's
Um,
been silent for quite a while, so I'm happy to hear she has gone on the Vile Files in the last couple of months, and then she also has done an interview with who did she do an interview with?
AD.
Yes, she did an interview with AD from Love is Blind also. Anne and I are under the assumption that AD was put on Love is Blind just so that she could kind of be catapulted to this Love is Blind podcast
She's a
host.
plant.
Yes, she is a plant. And uh I'm congratulations on your 5-year-old granddaughter, Miss Omi. And September is the most wonderful month ever to be born in. So I
Brooke's a
completely
little
agree.
biased.
And my mom always says this as well. I think that will keep you. So I think that's really cute, especially since this baby was born in September.
Mhm.
Ashley's problem is pride. Absolutely, and Blue. Welcome back, and Blue. It's been a while since we've
Yeah, I
seen
haven't heard
you.
from you in blue.
Hope that you are doing good. She has no accountability. That is absolutely right. I'm hoping that she starts to, drip that idea of accountability through in some of the media talks that she has, because I think she does have to take accountability for her blind following of this person. He said who and what he was enough for her to ask questions, and she just took his random answers that didn't make sense to anyone else on the world and just ran with them.
And she stayed with him a lot longer after this whole situation than I thought. I know it's like a thing really like to get out of a marriage. Like, me and
Right.
Brooke are both married. Like we know that it's like a whole ordeal getting out of a marriage, but he gaslit her and then he let her go to bat for him and he lied and lied and lied. And even when she confronted him with evidence, he lied still. So yeah, it's a no-brainer to me. I don't
Right.
know, but for her
Right.
it took her a little bit longer and she does have some accountability there. I do think it's mainly on Tyler. I mean, he's the one who abandoned these kids and stuff, but I do think that she needs to be accountable for her getting like her involvement. Just like her not knowing
Totally.
is part of like she like you said, she could have asked more questions. But yeah, it's he's definitely a horrible person, and I just don't understand what his motives for going on a show to get married were for, but
I have the same exact question. And also, shout out to you and Blue because there's been so much news going on about Love is Blind this week that I totally forgot that AD announced that she is pregnant.
yeah, I mean, I haven't forgot that. I just like you said, and Blue, she announced her pregnancy around like the time of getting some backlash, so it could be it. I
Mhm.
also think her whole timeline's so fast, and like she just met this guy basically, and now she's engaged and having a kid with him, and
Yeah.
the season of Perfect Match that they're on hasn't even come out yet. So I mean, it's just
Oh,
really
yeah.
fast.
It hasn't.
It hasn't. Like I don't even
And
see the
there's gonna be some things that are probably yucky for them to see on that. And now they're about to have this whole child. And
shoot. There better not be if they about to be having this whole child.
I mean, it's
I mean,
possible.
but certain people like AD and Jessica, I just feel like are plants. Like, I just don't think I never seen those women actually getting married in the shows. Like, I just think they were put on those shows to become Netflix stars. But
Yeah, agreed.
that's just me. Yep, I
Yeah.
agree with that. Because Ashley, okay, so she says she, like Ashley, just wanted to be married. I'm not surprised she got pregnant fast. I bet Ali is surprised enough. Or
Mhm.
surprised though. Probably, but the way that woman, threw that ass back, I'm really not surprised. Like, I knew someone was gonna knock that up.
Honestly, yeah.
And with Ashley, I do think she just wanted to be married. I think she was like at her 30 something, timeline of, she
Mhm.
was celibate. She was really into this guy. She says, in the beginning, like in the pods, they had all this great connection. And I think a lot of times these people put so much stake into what happened in the pods that sometimes it overshadows what happens outside of the pods. And I think
Agreed.
for her, that's how it was. Like she just really just wanted him to be that person in the pods, which the man was lying. I
Yeah.
mean,
He just was. And the thing is, he was already telling half truths. Why not just come out with a lie? Because the thing is that I think that Ashley would have probably accepted that man and all the things that he decided to do if he was just honest about it. Because, like you said, she was just in that era where she was pretty desperate to get married, or at least that's what it was giving. And I think
mhm.
she would have taken in that information had he told her in the pods because he started in the pods denying that he had children at all. Then when they were, already engaged, then he did the slow drip of like, oh, well, I'm a sperm donor and blah, blah, blah. And then, come to find out at some point, she found out just like we all did and what the real situation was. And yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that I don't feel bad for her, but I do think that she has to play, a role in taking some accountability for the situation that she allowed because at every single point she could have stopped what was going on and asked more questions or,
Mhm.
left. I know a divorce is a big deal, but it's a bigger deal after this amount of time instead of, standing by your man
I thought she was going
who
to show up to that
lied.
reunion pregnant because I can tell. I just felt like he
So
was
did
going to trap
I.
her. He
He
was going to
said
trap
he
her.
he said as much, like, on his wedding day. I don't remember the words exactly, but the guys were asking about something, and I think he said something about her wanting a baby or them starting a family, and I was like,
Mhm.
"Oh my god."
And at that time, we knew. Yeah. So yeah, and the thing is, like, I don't understand how Netflix did not catch on to this guy. Like, people were able to find Facebook photos of him
I
with his
know.
kids within like moments, I swear. And
Yeah.
Netflix couldn't do enough digging for that. I just can't believe it. And then
Yeah.
she
Well,
says like,
even
"Oh, well,
AD brought that up in the
yeah,
interview with her and had like kind of been suspicious about that. And they were both just sitting there kind of wondering how he got through and like, oh, he must have, just not. I don't know. His mom never deleted those photos. Do they not look at their parents?
I guess not." But you'd think they'd look at the parent.
You think
I
they
don't
would
know.
because they usually want their parents to be involved in the filming. You'd think they'd look at who they are, like they're not some kind of maniac.
Yeah, I don't know how he got through that way, but I don't know. It's just, yeah, I don't. Either way, so yeah, so they're not gonna be together. She's getting her divorce. In fact, it could be final any day now. I know it was going on in May, but I think Netflix knew that it's not illegal to have children, so they didn't care, just wanted the views. I do think that they had like, suspicion or something because he did tell them about the sperm donor stuff,
Well,
I guess.
I maybe
And
they just kind of believed it like Ashley did because he did tell them about the sperm donor stuff, and it's absolutely not illegal to have children by any means. But I did listen to a producer from this was from the first couple of seasons, so things might have changed. But I did hear a producer talking about how they really have a preference for people who don't have children, and they kind of broke that for the first time intentionally with Jessica, who was a plant anyways.
plant.
So I think there was a reason that they broke their own rules. But that they don't like to have children involved because they do recognize that this is kind of a crazy thing, to get
Yeah,
married
it's
in this amount of
toxic.
time. And it's probably not healthy for kids to be involved in
You
at
don't
all.
wanna throw somebody, because you could be endangering a child. What if he was a whole, pe
Well,
pedo
that what was her
was a
Lauren
thing.
Poche, I think her name was, the girl from a couple seasons ago that her story they went all the way into the engagement and it was never featured because dude was like a violent crazy person and
Yeah.
production was making sure that there weren't any pews around and all kinds of things.
Mhm.
So I think gosh, imagine if she had a child, at the time. It's just yeah, I think it's not a good idea to have kids involved. Now, in the capacity that Liler had these kids, which, yes, he made one of them, naturally, and he spermed on with the other one. He was kind of around. It doesn't seem like he has any intent to be around these kids anymore, anyways. So I don't know how much they would be involved in a thing with Ashley, in a marriage, in a Love Is Blind. But I
Yeah.
think that gray area should not even be explored.
Yeah,
Personally,
it's
I
too
don't.
complicated. It's
Yeah, I
just too
don't think there
complicated.
should be kids anywhere near these toxic
Yeah, it's one
situations.
thing to be an actual sperm donor, but when you're a
Right.
sperm donor with, like and
Who's
then you pick
friends
and
with the
choose.
donor? Yeah.
It's so weird. It's just that he's picking and choosing which kids are sperm donor like, I don't know. It's just so strange. I don't
Yep.
know. It made the whole situation makes me so uncomfortable. And then just imagine, if some of these people do have kids and then you throw this new man on them. I mean, like how traumatic, even if the guy is a good guy, it's still a lot to put on a kid in a short amount of time. Like, oh, here's your new stepdaddy I found
Yeah.
last month. It's just a
Yeah.
lot.
I don't think that there is a healthy way to do it. I mean, I'm sure that there's a way to transition, but then you're really making a lot of sacrifices in your marriage. And really, what is the point? I don't think that this is a show for people with kids.
Mm-mm. Yeah. Like you said, the only reason why they let Jessica through is because she was a whole plant. But
Exactly.
anyway, so moving on from Love Is Blind, we're gonna go over to Teen Mom. There was a lot going on Teen Mom. Honestly, all week has just been Teen Mom,
Should
Teen
we
Mom,
just
Teen Mom.
start with the quick other breakup?
Yeah, this is gonna be our quickest Teen Mom
Mhm.
story. So,
Hey.
Taylor and Cory have presumably broken up. He went on vacation and he's been kind of crashing out over this whole thing since.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know if she's already moved out or not. I don't know what's going on with their brand new beautiful home. I mean, shoot, they just put a lot of money into this home, and I don't know if you saw their pool, but holy crap! Like,
I know. And, I don't know, obviously, the situation with whose names are on what, but they're not married. And so if both of their names are not on something, I think it really screws somebody over.
yeah,
Probably Taylor. I don't
probably.
think Taylor is working. I know she's probably an influencer and I'm sure she makes, some good money with the following that she has. But
Yeah,
I know Corey probably is making more money. I don't know. I'm
He's on
totally
a lot more shows, so I mean that's pretty
yeah.
yeah. And with them, she's been really begging for a ring for a really, really long time. And I mean, Corey's just not giving it to her. So that's what I assume is going on here. Like she's just
Yeah.
at her wit's end. This man that she's popped out 2 kids, helped raise his other kid for him. And, she's the mom. She stays home with these kids while he goes to the challenge and does these shows and stuff. So she's
Mhm.
really the primary parent here. I mean, Corey's a
Yeah.
fun dad, but that's kind of, his role as being the fun dad. He's a good dad. He's a great dad,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think that Taylor plays such a huge role in his life, and I don't think it's really going to hit him until he's at home with himself for too long. I think eventually he will realize, but I honestly think it's too late. Like once we decide we're done, it's done. You'll hear that a lot with women.
I'm really curious to know who ended things. I mean, there's not a lot of details that we know, as far as I know, about the situation and how it happened. Everyone just noticed that they unfollowed each other, and then Cody, or
Corey.
not Cody. I keep wanting to call him Cody. Probably it's
Because
the
we
hair,
were just doing sister wives, but yeah.
that too, and also his hair. But
Yeah.
I think Cory also posted Lil Wayne "Let It All Work Out," the lyrics to that on his something story. So I don't know. I mean, maybe they're just taking a little bit of a break or something. Is that possible?
It's possible, but I just kind of think Taylor's been fed up and I think she's just done. I think she's done now. It might be her ultimatum. I don't know, but I
Mhm.
don't know. For some reason, I keep getting the feeling that it was Taylor that broke up with Corey, unless Corey did something, which I wouldn't put it completely past him. He's cheated on her before,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I don't think he's like seeing somebody else, but I definitely think he's hooking up with girls wherever he is, though. I think, wherever he went on vacation.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that that's definitely very possible that could be going on. Um, and Blue is saying that he's saying he didn't cheat based on probably some of his recent stories, I'm guessing. But
Yeah. But I just wonder if he's doing stuff now, but,
now that he's
because it's
quote unquote
Corey.
single, yeah, I mean, maybe,
Corey.
but I don't know. I do kind of feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like Corey wants to grow up. I don't know what his problem is with commitment. I know
He's
that
terrified.
yeah, I mean they explored this a little bit in the Teen Mom Family Reunion thing, and that is what he talked about is a lot of fear and commitment and being tied down and things like that. But Taylor has been around. She's the mother of your children. Like I'm not trying to minimize divorce or minimize marriage, but you can end a marriage. You cannot stop being the father of a and parents of a
Mhm.
child ever. I mean, even if
Yeah.
God forbid the child passes, you're still the parents. You still have that shared experience. So it's
Mhm.
just I can't understand how he can't get past the fact that they've already made the biggest commitments in life right now. So why not get married if that's her only problem? Maybe there's more
Well,
going
and in a similar way to Ashley and Lilar, like Taylor has some accountability too. Like she keeps
on. Yeah.
popping out kids for this man that didn't put a ring on her finger. If you have the goal of wanting to get married, why buy the cow if you can get the milk for free kind of thing? I mean, she's Corey's live-in wife. I mean, she's giving him everything already that you would have in a marriage. I mean, what's the incentive for him to put a ring on it if you're giving him everything anyways, but then you're just
Yeah.
upset about it? So I
Yeah.
do think there's some accountability there. She watched the way he treated Cheyenne and a ton of other women,
Mhm.
especially Cheyenne, who wanted a commitment out of him, wanted to at least try dating the man. I mean, shoot, she was
Right.
like begging that man to date her, and he wouldn't give her the time of day. And a lot of that reason is because he did not want to screw up their co parenting relationship because he was afraid of having a relationship. Like, Corey is afraid of commitment. And he knew that if he got in a relationship with the mother of his child, that he would have to commit to her. It's
Yeah.
just, and then Taylor got pregnant pretty quick into them like kind of reuniting or getting together not long. So at
Yeah.
least at least within a year or so, like of them getting back together. Because I think they were together, broke up, got back together. Like they've been going back and forth for a minute. And then, on the reunion, the teen mom reunion, like family vacation, they do talk about Corey cheating on her at one point.
Yeah, but that
Um,
was he was referring to at that point that it was over 5 years ago or something.
Yeah.
So,
And they were
and I'm
still
not
working
saying
through
that
that.
she should get over it or whatever, but I think they should be working through those kinds of issues. You
Mhm.
shouldn't be in a relationship for that long that you feel so like that there's no trust in. I
Yeah.
think that that's not healthy for either person either.
Yeah, so I guess to be determined whether the status of this relationship is. I'm not sure if they'll get back together or not. I kind of think that they would, but it's really
Mhm.
going to depend, I think, on how done Taylor is, honestly, because I think eventually Cory will realize like this woman does
Right.
a lot because she does. And it's probably just hard on all the kids as well. But anyways,
Yes.
moving on to more teen mom. Should we do Amber? Should we do Tyler and Caitlin? I don't feel like there's so much on both. So let's just start with Tyler and Caitlin, I guess.
Okay.
Since it's right there.
Okay.
So Caitlin and Tyler have been getting in a lot of hot water this week. I mean, it started earlier in the week with Caitlin sending all these text messages to a presumed 16-year-old girl who's friends with Carly. And there was a lot of back and forth. It was kind of like she was trying to go behind Brandon and Teresa's back to get Carly to talk to her.
Yeah.
And obviously this girl was a catfish, and I feel bad that Caitlin fell for that. I think she's like so desperate to get an answer from Brandon, Teresa, or Carly of why they're cut off that
Yeah.
she was just willing to take any method necessary, no matter who it was. She was willing to fall for anything. And I do feel bad for that. I do think in part that this is what happens when you don't give people full closure on a situation. You just block and you don't say anything, or you block and give minimal
Right.
information. This is what's going to happen, especially when Brandon and Teresa know who they're dealing with. They understand, like, they know Caitlin and Tyler at this point. Caitlin and Tyler are going to go public with stuff. I mean, they have before, they will
These
forever.
weren't leaked by them though.
Yes, they weren't, but I'm just saying, like, Brandon and Teresa know what they're dealing with Caitlin and Tyler, so I don't understand why they didn't give them a better explanation. But the texts that Carly's friends are so inappropriate, and they're completely inexcusable, and you can't defend them. Like, why are you as 30-year-olds texting 16-year-olds? You can't wait 2 years, or you can't wait a few months for Teresa to maybe unblock you and talk it out, because Dr. Drew did say on that last episode that he doesn't see them being blocked forever, and that Brandon and
Right.
Teresa want the relationship. They just need to reset. Well, how are they going to
At
reset?
this point, Brandon and Teresa are going to want a personal restraining order.
I
I
wouldn't
would.
blame them.
I
I
would.
would
They're
too.
talking about going to their church. They're talking about
Yes.
sending, emails, send us pictures, go in the bathroom. Tyler even, and I think Tyler's were not as bad as Kate's, but there just weren't as many. So maybe, they were. But even Tyler was, saying things to these kids about like, oh, well, what do you think? It's just based on your religion that you guys don't go against your parents, and where's the teenage rebellion and all this stuff, like basically encouraging them. If there was a question after that was inappropriate in some way, case closed, like everything would be done. I understand that Tyler was not doing something that was like invasive. I don't know what the word to use.
Like,
He didn't have bad intent, and he
yeah,
wasn't like obviously or outright trying to lead someone in a way that is schmoove
provocative, or
towards
yeah.
them. But he was totally taking advantage of the fact that these kids are kids. He was encouraging them to have all kinds of exactly. That's
Exactly. We can't
that's what
read
I'm
it.
trying to say.
We
Thank
can't
you.
read that on YouTube, but yes, exactly what
Yeah.
is typed down there. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So that is what was happening. And I think it does come across as weird. And what's so funny is not funny, but ironic, I guess is the better word, is the messages that Kate was engaging in came out first. And when Ann and I were talking about this throughout the week, I think it was you that had brought up like, wow, if
Yeah.
this were Tyler, we would be in a whole different situation. And now we do have messages with Tyler, and he is, I think that was the most forward thing with the what's up with where's the teenage rebellion, and
Yeah.
like accusing them of using their religion as a way to hold values, which of course. And I think the responses, I don't think this was a teenage girl. I think this was an adult that was speaking to both of them, maybe even the same adult. But honestly, but
Yeah,
I
because
think
how are there two people like this out there?
I know. And then apparently, supposedly, there's still an actual friend who is vetted out and is actually Carly's friend who has contacted them and said she doesn't want contact at all. And that's the
Plot
only person,
twist, it's Brandon and Teresa, and
right?
they're testing them.
People were saying in the comments of some of these on Facebook that it's Tyler and Kate talking to each other. And I was like, you guys.
Could you imagine? I don't know if they'd be that
But
delusional, but
nobody would, yeah, who would leak that? Because this looks horrible for them. This
this
is
looks horrible.
inappropriate. This is wrong. It's not okay. If I were Brandon and Teresa, I would go look for a judge as soon as I can and tell them I need a restraining order as soon as possible. This
Yeah.
is not okay behavior at all.
And after Kate's messages leaked, she posted some weird, like, cryptic message along the lines of, oh, do I have it saved here? Oh, it says, they're talking about you. Yeah, because when they talk about themselves, no one listens. It's like, girl, you're on a TV show. Like, what do you expect? But another thing is that then Tyler, maybe a couple days later, put out his own message in response. So this is before his text leaked.
Mhm.
But his response says, listen, if I'd attempted to address every rumor, media, misinformation, or conspiracy theory about us, I would never be able to stop. Because even when we do, people still choose not to believe us. Remember, just because you see it or hear it on the internet doesn't make it true. We vowed that after this last episode aired, we will not be speaking about our biological daughter or her parents anymore. And that is what we're going to continue to do. However, I can't control if any random content creator, media gossip site, or obsessive hater follow suit and respect that or not. But regardless of whatever new rumors, lies, or conspiracy theories that may come up, we will still continue to honor that what we have said and not talk about it. So people can take that decision and draw whatever conclusions their imagination desires from it. So whatever you hear about our biological daughter, I assure you it won't be coming from us.
Whenever, whatever. Take me.
Honestly, I mean, okay, but it's
Yeah.
just interesting that, like, these texts come out and you guys don't wanna say anything when every other time you have.
So
And
I think it's actually kind of feel bad for them because they did make that statement. I think you and I read that on our final Teen Mom episode about them deciding not to speak about
mhm,
Carly anymore. And so I think it's just kind of ironic timing. If they really are going to stick to that, then that is the most that Tyler can say is, "Hey, we see what's going on. We're not going to talk about it." And I think even that is pushing it based on what they said they were going to do. They were just going to step away and whatever. These messages, I don't know when they happened. They could have been a long time ago. They could have been yesterday. Who knows? But that's not stepping away. I hope that they're not engaging in this kind of behavior anymore and not just because they got caught,
yeah,
because hopefully they found their brain somewhere and they realize that this is completely inappropriate. And I am a huge fan of Kate and Ty. I love them. I love even the fact that they're trying to get this message out there and their point of view from Carly. I don't think that they should be silenced. I think they should be able to talk about adoption. I think they should be able to talk about their adoption. But I don't think that this is right at all. This is
yeah.
they've lost their minds.
Oh, yeah, they're desperate, and, like, it's a hard situation because I can see, like, both sides. I can see Caitlyn and Tyler's side, I can see Brandon and Teresa's side. So it's really hard to navigate all that, like, because we really truly don't know from Brandon and Teresa themselves what's
Right.
going on. I mean, they've never spoken about it publicly, but we can only assume, based on their, previous issues and, things like that, that it's just a lot for them right now. So all of this still coming out, I mean, just imagine they blocked these people to get some peace, and then ever since it's just been thing after thing after thing, and how
Yeah.
exhausting. So yeah, I mean, I do think they should be able to talk about their story, but I do think they need to stop attacking Brandon and Teresa in their story. I think
Yeah.
that even though right now adoption is hard for them, it doesn't mean that that still wasn't what was best for Carly in the long run. She got the parents that she needed. I think that, the more you go back and you're like, oh, I should have done this and I could have done this. And I mean, it sucks. You can't go back and change that stuff. But what is, and maybe Carly was put there for a reason. I mean, you got to just be grateful for what did come out of it, even though it doesn't feel like that right now. It still just is giving like ungrateful, and I can see why people feel that way.
Yeah.
But I also see like their end of it just feeling like they've been misled and misguided. Like they didn't have proper adults helping them, they were kids, and I will always feel for them for that. But this
Yeah.
getting a hold of teenagers and all that,
Yeah.
that is just strange.
It's
Like
inexcusable.
you guys are not teenagers. You guys are in your 30s. You have your own kids, and imagine being their three other kids, like, and
And
all
you're
that
just
goes on in their
held up on your
Carly,
phone
Carly,
trying
Carly, Carly.
to ask a teenager who's not a teenager when they get out of piano lessons. It's so weird. It's inexcusable. I will make all the excuses for Kate and Ty because I think that they have a tragically sad story.
Mhm.
However, this is not excusable. There's no way to try to, validate it. It's not good.
It's not. It's not. I just it's inexcusable, like we've been saying. So I don't know. I'm hoping that they talk about this a little bit on their podcast, but I'm not sure if they will. They probably won't address this. But yeah, these texts were pretty damn bad. Kate's were
I guess
worse.
technically it's not about Carly.
Technically, it's about them, but they're
Yeah.
trying to get a hold of Carly. Like, Kate's were so strange, and they were going on for so long, and it's like you
Yeah.
weren't getting the answers. Like, they're trying to ask this person questions, and the person is not giving them like the answers that they want, so they just keep going on with the conversation. It's like, no, don't respond until you get the real, like, until you know who you're talking to. And even
Yeah.
so, like, for one, you shouldn't be talking to a 16-year-old at all. I think you could wait the 2 damn years that it takes for Carly to turn 18, because at this point, if I was Carly, I would think you guys were stalkers. You
Right.
know, not good. Like, it's not making you guys look good, probably even to your, biological daughter. But
Yeah.
yeah, I hope the best out of that situation, but I have a feeling a few more things might be leaking out. I do. Um, they need to accept their decision they made at 16 and heal. I agree with that. I think
Yeah.
that they still have a lot of healing to do with that. Maybe they need to do some more therapy work. I mean, they're really big advocates of that. So maybe they just need to go back and do more of that. Um,
Remember the meeting that they had with Dawn
yeah.
just recently when they talked about the adoption being closed and obviously the pain that comes with that. And I thought that Dawn had a really, sad but truthful way of reflecting that back to her, that it's just another layer of grief and another area of grief that they have to navigate. And I don't think that they've accepted that that is the layer of grief they have to navigate. I think that they're channeling all of that grief and frustration into all of these messages, right? And all of these signs and signals that they're giving through every single interweb and, making these emails and all this stuff. It's just take a moment, take a deep breath, like Dawn said, focus on yourself for a minute and let things play out. I know that's not what they want to hear, and obviously if we were talking to them, I think we would be a little bit less direct, but the message is still the same. You guys need to
Yeah.
focus on your life. This is not, you need to heal for your own selves. Carly
Yeah.
or
I mean,
not, 'cause
yeah.
this is
Well,
this is
I
what it is.
agree. Yep. And the email thing is a great idea. I mean, if they wanted
I
to
love
put
that.
all those things into an email, that's great. What was weird is that they were so almost willing to give this email address and password to these teenagers, and I just think that's insane. You
To
gotta give it
strangers.
directly to Carly. If you
Yes,
can't get a hold of her, then you wait till you get a hold of her, because what? Imagine if
I
they woulda
know.
gave it to one of these people, especially the one Tyler was talking to, because they
Tyler
truly
gave
believe.
them the email address, and so this person could be, I mean, who knows what kind of weirdo and wacko this person is? They could be sending all kinds of stuff to that email. I know Kate and Ty have access to it, so I'm sure that they're monitoring it themselves, but, like, oh my gosh, I think it's so careless and so reckless. I understand that you're desperate and you wanna get this message out, but y'all have gotten this message out. Everybody in the world knows that you guys are open to talking to Carly. I think there are people that don't watch Teen Mom that probably know about you guys and know about your adoption story, that know that you want to talk to Carly. And so it's time to sit down and take a break and heal.
And the fact that they talked about, they thought already about going to church, because like the girl invited them to go to church, and then Kayla's like, "Yeah, we talked about, or we thought about that." What do you mean you
The
thought about
fact that
showing
they
up at
even
Carly's church?
considered it is wrong. That is a space that is, first of all, sacred to Carly. And is, second of all, I'm not saying you don't belong there, you're not welcome there, but that's not your church. That is a church that is states away,
States.
states away, and you are going there with the purpose of harassing. I feel like if they went they could easily both get charged with harassment. What they're doing on these text messages is basically harassment, except it's not to anyone that is willing to name themselves.
Yeah, the fact that they thought they could just randomly walk into some North Carolina church or South
Weird.
Carolina, I don't know which one it is, but the fact they thought they could walk into that church and just be nonchalantly just walk in, and that Carly, Brandon, and Teresa would not be like, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Weird.
that's just so weird to me. Like, that's stalker behavior. Yeah, the restraining order is on its way.
True. It's so weird. So, all right, shall we move on?
All right, who's next? Miss Amber. Oh wait.
Oh, user alien, how you doing? It's good to
How are
see
you
you.
doing? It is. The creep who sent the messages is weird too. Yeah, you know
Completely
what?
agreed.
Completely. Like, who's got the time?
Yeah.
Who's got the
Yeah.
time to do this? The fact that this person or persons, had taken the time to prey on these people is also just as sad. Like, I can't believe people really got this kind of time and the audacity. Like, this has
Yeah.
probably scarred Catelynn and Tyler. I mean, they're even more trauma bonded now if y'all thought they were trauma bonded before.
Yeah, I
Like,
think they just have to find new things to trauma bond over. I think that's just their relationship
well,
now.
they did.
Maybe that's why they won't kind of, I don't want to say let it go. They shouldn't let it go, but they're
Accepted.
refusing to enter the realm of acceptance.
Yeah. Yeah, but you're right, user alien. The person who did the messages is just it's
Just
so
as
strange.
equally of a weirdo.
If not more.
And
I mean, who's
apparently
got the
has,
time? It's more so because at least Caitlin and Tyler are biologically invested in this, and like this has been their whole
you're right.
lives. Like,
Yeah.
this person literally came out of their day.
Right.
Whoever's been doing this has taken the time out of their day to invest in some stranger's life that
Hmm.
and prey on them on their like weakest what they're going through. And it's just, yeah, it's despicable. I honestly think who did this is worse of a person. I mean, they're a horrible person.
Yeah, I tend to agree now that you say it that way. Also, I was talking about intent earlier, and Tyler and Kate's intent, although completely off, and this is inexcusable, their intent, I think, was not to harm anybody. Whereas this person's intent was only to harm people and maybe even to cause Kate and Ty to show up at the church that Carly attends and possibly get them in trouble, possibly
Mhm.
scare Carly, cause definitely a huge issue between Brandon and Teresa. I mean, I know I'm over here joking about a restraining order, but if they were to show up there on the premise that they think Carly really wanted them there, oh my gosh, they would never see that girl again, probably even after she turns 18.
Seeing Kate's response on the call with Dr. Drew about the song and her being upset that Carly's having a good life definitely shined a light on how. Yeah, I mean, it seems like she wants, she almost has like this hope that Carly's being abused or something, schmused or whatever. Like,
Well,
it's just like she's hoping.
I think they're trying to make sense of it that way. Yeah, that like Brandon and Teresa are like unduly strict or like there's this exacerbation of this parenting thing and the religion is too strong and too controlling.
Mhm.
I think they're trying to create this narrative in their own minds that Brandon and Teresa are controlling, and that's why all this is going on. And yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I can see Kate feeling really sad that she's being kind of almost thrown in the face. Like Dr. Drew was real weird also in this meeting. And so I kind of give Kate and Ty a lot of grace because everything was delivered really strange and it all came out in the end that they were being played even by production. And I think that they were starting to get a sense of that pretty much right away. And Dr. Drew was like, "Oh, she's great." And Brandon says that basically she's thriving, and that's the response to why have you closed the adoption? Oh, well, she's thriving. And so I could see why Kate is like, well, why are you keeping her from us if she's thriving? Do you guys think us is the problem? So I can kind of see her response as rational, but I think they are just so desperate.
And they're obsessed at the same time. Like, I just can't help but think, like, what about their other kids? Like, do they just only hear about Carly all day long? I mean, shoot, Nova's
Right.
even writing Carly's birthday in a damn calendar and stuff. Like,
I know.
is this like all that's going on in their house? Like, can't they focus on their other kids
I actually don't think it is. I think again, like this is the story that
can't
MTV.
be.
Yeah, I hope not.
But
I
it is what
really
they
hope
always
not.
put out too. Like they don't even talk about their other kids a lot. So it's just kind of like I think that's also them. They're helping that narrative of like we're
Yeah.
obsessed with our biological daughter. Yeah.
Yes, I could agree. I think people probably don't engage as much with things with their biological or with their children that they're parenting as they do with things about Carly. They probably get very high engagement. And I know Kate and Ty say it's not about the money, but when you're
Mhm.
posting stuff,
Yeah,
I think
of
it
course.
was a trap. It's definitely a trap. Yes, the text to get them to go to church. Absolutely. And again, whoever that was is unhinged. I mean, who knows what their intent was? It was already obviously bad. Something terrible could have happened. I just think that's so icky. And I think Kate and Ty are responsible because they played into it. I do think
Mhm.
the person sending the messages, I think is worse. I agree with that. But they played into it. They both should have shut this down right away. It's like, send me these pieces of information. If they wanted to get that email to her, whatever. I still don't think it's okay that they're talking to other kids that they've never met. Um, but
Yeah.
to go on and like, where are you? What's your schedule for the day? What's going on? It's
I
like,
mean, if this was a real 16-year-old girl talking to them, imagine being their parents and finding out these 30-year-olds are harassing them to get a hold of their biological like
and that
it's
this 16-year-old honestly is, let's have a big lesson now on talking to strangers because you're telling them you're at piano lessons, you're at school, this is how long you're at school, this is where
yeah,
we sit at lunch, all this stuff. Like all that, those kinds of details should never be shared with strangers. I don't care how
yeah.
old you are.
And I'm sorry if I was that kid's parents and I looked at the phone and I seen Tyler's text about where's the teenage rebellion, I'd be like, where are
That's
these people's parents?
That made my stomach turn a little bit, and I feel like I know Tyler, and I
Yeah,
don't, right? Like, he's a guy on TV. I don't know the half of Tyler. I don't know a smidge of Tyler, but I feel like I know his character, at least the character that he presents to the public, and I think that he would never do anything to harm a child in that way. But when I read those text messages, my stomach turned. How gross and weird.
yeah, that's just strange. Like, and I know that he was asking it as like because Tyler's a really outward thinker. Like he's always thinking and right. He was just genuinely like, when we were teenagers, I mean, we're the same age as them. We didn't really like there was that teenage rebellion, and I guess now kids are a little bit different, but that's good. Like
Yeah,
why do you want that? Like that's what I'm saying. Like, don't you want your kids to be listening to you? So why do you? I don't know. And just the way that they preach to these kids about how parenting should be. Like you're talking to 16-year-olds. Do you think they understand any of this, or like? I mean, they do because it's obviously a full adult talking to you, but
right.
especially when they're talking about dining hours. Like, what teenager is like, my dining hours are like, no, it's lunchtime. Okay, hook,
Oh, yeah.
hook. I was gonna say hookers, but I stopped
All right. Well, let's move on to some other teen mom tea from this week, which
myself.
is the arguments, plural, that went down between Ashley and Amber this week.
Hmm.
And it all started off when she must have seen the last episode of Teen Mom, and she was kind of giving a response to the way that Amber has been talking to Leah pretty much all season. She had even referenced all the way back to Leah's birthday,
Hmm.
but even up to now, and saying that the way that Amber treats her daughter, is disgusting. All the things, of course, that we were thinking about Amber. And she also had just some great zingers in this first video. It was hilarious. Ann and I were texting back and forth, and my personal favorite was the Rent-A-Center comment where she said, I hope Rent-A-Center, comes back and steals that couch right from you so that all you can do is stand and think about how to move yourself closer to your goal, which is your child. And yes, I memorized that because it is prime. Prime. It is almost word for word.
She deserved an Emmy on her own for
I
that whole
swear.
spiel.
I
Like,
swear.
I could have skipped all of Teen Mom's season this season just to watch that. I mean,
know.
that was just pure gold. And I think Ashley did make a really good point. I mean, a lot of us on here are always like, why does MTV keep enabling Amber? Why does MTV keep putting up with this? Why do they keep paying this woman? Because trust me, I get just as annoyed about that. Like, why are they paying this woman to just sit on her couch? It just drives me nuts. But
Yep.
Ashley's like, obviously she is a cautionary tale of like, this is how things could go.
Yeah.
And
that's
that just made
facts right
so
there.
much it made so much sense. I feel like Ashley got that from a producer or something, because
She must have.
I'm sure she confronted production about why is this lady still here after Amber threatened to mutilate her,
Yeah.
and they're probably like, she's a cautionary tale. This is she's not a good mom, but this is how not we have to show that side too. And
Yeah.
oh my gosh, it's just yeah. But Ashley's live about Amber was hilarious and accurate. It was, and Blue, it totally was.
Very, very correct.
Yes, I clapped several times for her. I think I even rewatched it, at least
Oh
one other
yeah,
time.
I think
I
I
watched
watched it. I think I watched a couple of clips of it because it really blew
Mhm,
up right after it happened. And I will say that first live, I mean, all the lives that she's been in the last couple of days regarding Amber, she's been, real chill about it and just kind of
mhm,
spitting facts. She even said something in one of them about trying to be mindful not to really get too down and dirty and make too much like kind of gossip about Amber
mhm.
because really her whole point in this is trying to stick up for Leah and she really doesn't want to drag Leah through the mud in that way. And I think, gosh, like Ashley is over here thinking more about the well-being of Leah than Amber is.
Yeah,
She's
it's
literally thinking more about what she says on social media, not even as her mother, but talking about her mother than Amber ever, ever, ever does, especially talking about Leah's own father.
mhm. Oh, of course. And I love what she said about Christmas, how she's like, "You were live on Christmas? On Christmas?"
God, I've
Like,
got no life, girl. Like,
you
jeez.
you ain't gonna call her and ask her about the presents you didn't get her? Like, what are you talking about? Like, it was just gold. And
Yeah.
yeah, Ashley, I appreciate that she's on this show and she does not mind, like she will talk about it. And
Yep.
the other cast members, I mean, we saw Jade talk about it a little bit. We saw Brianna tweet about it. We saw Cheyenne
Mhm.
talk about it a little bit, but you'll never see, and Macy and Caitlin have like confronted Leah about it, but you'll never see them just telling it like it is about Amber. And I don't know if it's
Yeah.
that weird bond that they have, which I don't understand how they have it, because like Amber is just not there,
I know.
but it's just
I know.
strange. But they have this weird like what is it like
Like a
allegiance to
sisterhood.
Amber.
Yeah, allegiance is a good word. They have a weird allegiance, like an alliance, like all of it. They have this strange sisterhood. And I kind of get it. I mean, they really have gone from the beginning with each other. So I'm sure that they have a lot more like compassion and understanding and things like that with each other than maybe Ashley
But
does.
the
But
things
I
that these women stand beside, like the machete stuff, they
yes.
went to court with her. Like,
Yes,
it's
at
one
some
thing to
point you
be
have to say enough is enough,
yeah.
especially when you're on a television show with someone, especially Macy, right? Like she made a whole stink about Farrah and what was going on. And I know she says it, I think she said before that she kind of regrets that now, that it wasn't as big of a deal as she made about it. But, you
Mhm.
know, it's okay to stand on something and say this is wrong. I think even Ashley herself, if Amber turned her life around in the last year and was trying to really be in Leah's life and all this stuff, I think Ashley would be the first one to get on TikTok and be like, great job, right? Like good for you. She's not just going to sit there and hate on Amber just
Mhm.
to try to be right. Like Amber is a terrible mom. That's not news to anybody. Ashley's not doing anything crazy. She's just saying what we're all thinking and no one
But
else is
every
saying it.
time we see Amber, it's, "I'm a good mom." And it's like, good moms don't say they good moms, okay?
I
They don't
know.
mean to. I'm
I
so
just
sick of
saw a
her.
clip of her crying to Gary, like back when Leah was 3 years old. The same exact thing. I'm a good mom. Back when
It's
she was
always
letting some man change her diapers.
ugh, the diapers thing
The
was yeah.
diaper of it all.
I hope
The
that Leah
couch
hasn't seen
girly.
that
Oh,
clip.
we're about to get to that couch girly.
It's Coach Girly. There she
Got
is.
off the couch. Ashley got her off the couch. So the biggest accomplishment of Ashley's first live is that she got this woman off the couch and into her backyard to watch other people work on her yard, which also hasn't been done in, let's be honest, probably years. Every
Digging.
time MTV does their zoom in on her, the outside of her house, it's just riddled with weeds and grass, and I think there's stuff growing into her roof and all kinds of things.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
horrid.
It is horrid. And
Still
her
don't have her
eyes
eyes
aren't
open
even
though.
I say her eyes aren't even open during this, and she's just yeah, I mean, Ashley did in one live what, all of us have been trying to do for years, which is yell at this girl about getting off of her couch, but
I
she don't
know.
care when any of us say it in the chat, but, apparently Ashley says it in a live and this girl's outside. Now, she
Mhm.
hasn't left the property, but
Not yet.
does anyone
We're
know what
getting
she
there,
does
baby
for
steps.
work? Because Amber's always talking about how she works now. Like, what the hell does this woman do? She's got to work remote. There's no way she's leaving her house to go to work.
I don't
Like,
know.
what
I
is
I don't
work to
even believe her. She thought she was in the Marines.
We talked
Okay.
about that on our last recap, which I've just
We
been
did,
slow
yeah.
about getting it out, but, you
Yeah.
guys definitely check that out when I do get it out. It should be out some point this weekend. I'm just not sure when because 'cause I've just been working like crazy, so, um, but we'll get there. That's why I've been doing these live, but
Mhm.
anyways, yes. So Amber, I mean, what did she even say in this? I feel like she didn't say much of nothing
She
other
didn't
than
say
"I'm
anything.
not on the couch."
She said she was outside. She said someone was working on her boat or her deck or her something, so she wasn't even doing her own work
Yeah.
outside. She just literally, just like Ashley said in her response that came quickly after, "Oh,
Mhm.
congratulations, you took 18 steps out to your balcony, porch, whatever in your backyard." I think Ashley said something like, "I'm in a rented car in a different state about to go shopping." It's just like, "Okay, Ashley, but you go on."
It's funny. Well, at least she's off the couch. I mean, request number 1 has
Mhm.
been
And you
handled,
can
but
tell when she's outside that she hasn't been outside in a while. She
oh,
can't
yeah,
open her
look at her.
eyes, her skin is pale. She just looks so dusty. It's just
She looks like one of her damn ventriloquist dolls that Ashley
she
was
looks
talking
like
about.
she's on her 5th day of dry shampoo as well.
If she's even been doing dry shampoo, really, I mean,
Yeah,
how
well, it just
often
looks a little, like, dusty, it's got that, like how dry shampoo sometimes gets that, I don't know, just
yeah.
that
I mean, you
dusty
just know the woman doesn't leave, her roots are grown out, her eyes are s like you said, like, she's outside, so her eyes are just like, like, I can't open. I'm
no, and
so used to the
I have
darkness.
eyes that are similar to Amber's in that they often do not look like they're open, and it is something that I'm self-conscious about, but this is like, you haven't slept, you've been crying all night, you're on 7 different types of medication, and you're outside for the first time in months. Like, this is, like, not open.
Sensory overload for her eyes right
Yes.
now.
Yes, it's
Wow.
bad.
And I was actually surprised she didn't just get super angry in this and start popping off. I mean, I think she knows that everything Ashley said was accurate. I mean, what can
Mhm.
you fight it with? But
She didn't
yeah,
even
it's
say
just
anything bad about Ashley, and, Ashley comes back on sort of quickly after, and this is the actual screenshot from Ashley's response,
uh
and she says as much to Amber too. She's like, "Congratulations on talking and, so kindly and having such emotional regulation, and maybe you should be speaking to your daughter this way." She talks about how people only push you as far as you let them, so she
mhm.
says, like, shouts out to Gary and Liam, maybe you guys need to be setting up some boundaries. And yeah, it was all kinds of on point once again. And then she
Yeah.
took herself shopping. I mean, good for you, Ashley.
And when Ashley originally spoke about this, she said that she expects to get a lot of, feedback from people, but that, you know, they all put themselves on the show. So they're all, subjects to talk about. And Amber is not exempt from that. She's not
Yeah,
exempt from being talked about by other cast members because they all put their lives out there. So yeah,
yeah,
they're able to talk about each other. I mean, that's just how it is. But
yeah,
yeah, I hope yeah, Ashley went on quite a few lives, so she's had a little campaign against Amber right now, which I'm here for it. Someone has to
yeah.
be. I
She
mean,
also went live today for a little while on someone else's live, I believe.
yeah.
I'm really pretty new to TikTok. But she went live on someone else's thing today, just kind of briefly. But there was a couple of things, at least one that I thought was also a good thing that she added, which is, people were starting to comment and ask her about Janelle and ask her about all her thoughts about all these different teen moms and why, she thinks that Kate and Macy are supporting it, all kinds of things. And she was like, look, listen, you guys, I am not the, you know, shining hill of teen mom. I'm not here to be, telling everyone what's right and what's wrong. I just came on because I was upset about what I saw about Amber and I didn't want to see it happening anymore. So I just wanted to speak my piece on it. But I'm not about to be talking about every single one of these ladies. And I think good for her as well, because to me, this shows growth on Ashley's part. I know
Mhm.
that Ashley has opinions probably on all those things and all those girls. And I think she has worse opinions about Janelle than she even let on, but she saw Janelle in the chat and she was cordial and kind. And I'm not saying that she's not capable of that, but we have seen situations where she wants to pop off, especially when she
Yeah.
is feeling, froggy, and she's
Well,
already
she just
feeling
had
froggy.
dinner with Janelle too. It would be kind of weird to go from having dinner with Janelle to just start ragging on her,
She
but
had dinner with Janelle because they were at an event, though. It's not like they were friends, Kiki.
yeah. Well, to Ashley, that might be friendly kikiing, considering the rest of the cast doesn't really talk. I mean, Cheyenne's nice to her now, but yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
although I would love to see a podcast of Ashley just like talking about teen mom stuff,
Mhm.
I would watch that. I
Yeah,
love,
she had didn't she say, or am I hallucinating? She said something about that, right?
I don't know, but I would love content like that from her. I just
I think
love
she
what she
said
has to
something
say.
about her and Janelle possibly doing a podcast where they share all the tea.
Oof.
I
I would like
know.
that because
And
I feel like there would be a fallout.
Then Janelle came in the comments and started spilling tea, and that's when Ashley was like, "I gotta go, you guys. Like, I don't know anything about this stuff."
What did Janelle say? You know?
She name dropped somebody. I don't know who that somebody was, but she said something about somebody. Um, and then
Where's
gosh,
Janelle and her like, why isn't she ever taking care of her damn kids? Like, what does she always do?
well, and
Like,
it's funny because that was Ashley's whole thing about Janelle, where she was saying some nice things about her. She was like, one thing about Janelle is that she's always at least fighting to have her kids, or she does have her kids, and that I can't say the same about Amber. So that's why she was trying to differentiate there, which I
yeah,
get. I mean, I don't think Janelle is a bad person, and I bet Ashley and Janelle are cordial, but I bet that there are things that Ashley also thinks are questionable about Janelle because Ashley has a brain.
I mean, it's delusional. So it's
Duh.
you know,
Yeah.
she's always gonna be herself. But I would much rather watch her on TV than Amber, honestly. At
I
least she gives
agree.
a little something. I can't stand watching this girl. I can't stand looking at Amber's living room or whatever Airbnb couch she's on that day. Like it's just
Mhm.
and Ashley made a lot of good points about, Gary Waite. She kept calling him the alien extraterrestrial guy, but um she made a lot of good points that Amber, completely switched up once this guy comes in. She can do things, she's got
Right.
energy, she's got all this, but then, the second he leaves, she's a mess again. And it's like, why don't you have that same energy when you're around your kids and stuff? Like, why don't you have that same energy for being a mom? It's crazy. But, you know, you could just tell the people who prioritize men over children, and it's just sad to watch what happens with those children. But
True.
whew. Anyways,
Well, should we move on to
the last topic of the day.
the final topic?
Yes. So the last topic of the day is one of our personal favorites, Mr. Ryan Anderson.
Yes, love this
We
man.
haven't even gotten far away from the Gypsy episode. The last Gypsy drop, so before we heard from this man.
I know. So, I guess like a brief recap, real quick, of some of the things that he will be touching on in this. He's not touching on this, but this did come out this week. It's a video that Gypsy dropped of explaining all the signs in her house.
Mhm.
Lots of people have lots of opinions. I don't think it's really that big of a deal, but I think it's hilarious that this woman marched around her own home and explained her signs to the public. Like, find something else to do.
Honestly, like,
Can't
and
believe it.
and I do think it's an excessive amount of signs. Like the one on the fridge,
Totally. But I
whatever.
don't
Like,
think it's like It's not even something I would comment on if it wasn't Gypsy Rose.
Since
If
I'm
someone
her
else,
primary caregiver, I have this sign. Does how
Like, why?
and what I don't understand is like she had said something about like I'm the primary caregiver, so I track all these things so that when I'm back at home, like, don't you always have the baby? What does Ken need to know if you're the primary caregiver? How do you even track that when you're
I
at
just think it
home?
was a slight to Ken, like since I'm the
Totally.
primary
The whole thing was he
caregiver.
doesn't take the trash out, he doesn't turn the light on, he doesn't take care of the baby, he doesn't know her schedule, he doesn't know who to call if he sees a ghost for Ghostbusters. He doesn't know anything. Gypsy can't stand this man, Ken, right now.
Yeah, he must have called her an idiot that morning. But like Ryan said.
Just that very morning. So it didn't have anything to do with Ryan's live, but I just thought it was funny from this week, so I slid that in there.
Mhm.
Gypsy also dropped, I think it was from this week, but she dropped a video, or Christy did, or somehow
Someone
it
leaked
came
it,
out
but it
and
came from
leaked.
them.
Well, it's Christy's recording it, obviously.
Mhm.
So this is Gypsy trying to get her stuff from Ryan, I think from a while back. She was trying to get some photos. I guess she had
Mm.
stuff already worked out in the divorce papers of how she was going to get the rest of her stuff, but not the photos. I don't know. I thought the whole thing was weird. But he does mention that in the live a little bit. And then last but not least, Gypsy did this, I think, 2 weeks ago, and I think we've talked about it, haven't we?
Yeah, we talked about it when we talked about, I think, the last episode.
Yes,
Um,
but just a reference that this will also be mentioned. And Ryan's live, which he scheduled for us conveniently so that we
yeah,
could all be here and ready to watch.
it was the first time he's announced his live.
I was here for it. I didn't even know if I was going to be home at the time, but I made it home. And thank God for that.
Yes, and I got a lot of good stuff out of this live, but it was
Me
interesting.
too. First and foremost, I mean, we haven't talked about the picture yet. I guess we'll just bring it up right here. But Pixie ate this. Pixie ate it. Pixie ate
He
it.
threw it for the public again, and then I guess Pixie's part of the public, so she just ate it right up.
And then you could tell for a solid 8 to 10 minutes that this man was losing his effing marbles. He was like, I didn't plan for that to happen. His face got red. He was stuttering. He couldn't figure out what to
Yeah.
say. And then he kept saying things like, oh, well, at least it wasn't the picture of us, or I'd never do that to our marriage license. And it's like, what do you care? It's all for the public, isn't it? You're going to let Pixie eat it all up. I can't believe Pixie ate this photo.
I can. She was probably sick of this man bringing out this photo. Pixie, imagine what Pixie's been through, like this guy probably gets this photo out every day and shows her like, this is your mama.
That's
So she
true.
doesn't forget. Because then even when she was eating the photo, like Brian's like, oh, she just misses her mom. And I'm like, she doesn't know that woman.
I know. I know. I'm telling you, Pixie ate that thing into pieces, not just like a quick rip, but we're talking tiny pieces all over the floor.
She was sick of this woman. She's sick of seeing her face
Sick of
everywhere.
her.
She's like,
He's sick of
get
seeing
over
his
it.
father just sit there and stare at this photo with the whole, my wife.
I mean, you saw Pixie. She aged a lot. I mean, she's got white eyebrows. She's
That's true.
she just wants this woman out of the house. She's like, she's gone, Ryan. She's
This
gone.
dog is a full adult now. Does not need a mother.
It never had a mother. And
Never.
like side note, like what a photo of Gypsy. Like what in the prison tarnation is she posing like this for?
This
Like
is the
who do
hottest
this?
prison photo you could probably get right here. Let me tell you.
Like what is this? It's just really. I'm sorry, but it's just like, oh my gosh.
And then the Ryan holding it behind like this. I mean, this photo right here is just everything. This
Perfect.
encapsulates Gypsy and Ryan. Just
And
all of
it's,
it.
at least he still got his painting where he can, hold the hand of the painting. Like on one of the
Are you
episodes.
sure he didn't throw that outdoors for the public?
He might have, but I don't think so. On one of the other episodes, Ryan had a photo like this of Gypsy, but somebody painted it. and as he's showing it to us, he kind of like reached for her hand, and we definitely have a short about it if you guys want to go look. It's hilarious.
Yeah. It's
But
called Ryan Reaches Out.
Ryan reaches out because he's reaching out for her hand, and it's just the most pitiful little thing, and it's so subtle, but once you pointed it out, like I could not see it. He's just
I know.
for her hands.
He is a sad man. You
He's a
know,
star.
he's a star. I'm not mad at him, but the obsession runs deep with Gypsy
It
Rose.
does.
It just
He's
does.
hopelessly in love with her.
Mhm.
It's crazy.
Still to this day, he basically spent how long? I mean, he was on live for almost 2 hours, like a good hour and a half.
Yeah.
That Amber J girl came in, and I know that there's been like some rumors, or at least people have been trying to create rumors about them maybe dating or being flirty or whatever. I know that seemed like they were a little flirty just in the thing anyways, but she came on for like a half an hour.
Yeah.
I think for some moral support and to give Ryan a little bit of a break. But other than that, he spent the whole time talking about Gypsy.
Yeah, he did.
Yep, he sure did.
He talked about the video that we talked about earlier that that Christy and Gypsy showed up, and he just thought that was super disrespectful. He couldn't understand why they would have to go that route, but he thinks that was all Christy, because Christy and him already don't have a good relationship. He even told a story about like they were going to go to a game and Christy brought jerseys, but Gypsy thought the jerseys looked cheap, and so did Ryan. So Gypsy asked Ryan to buy new jerseys, but he was like, nah, she got us these jerseys, like we should wear them. And Gypsy was like adamant, like let's get brand new jerseys, which I can see. This girl gets a $400 stroller and then complains that she's only got $50 to her name.
Yeah, no, I completely believe that. I think Gypsy wouldn't be caught dead in something that will do until you get the real thing. I think she just wants the real thing, and she wants it all the time. And that's what we see her time and time again be very demanding sometimes of the people around her and not have very much patience, to be honest.
And she has no like idea of money. Like she doesn't understand, like just because you have the money doesn't mean you need to spend it right now.
I know the way that she was throwing out like literal thousands of dollars per DNA test and just offering, you know, I'll pay for it, I'll do this, you drive here, asking someone to drive 3.5 hours, a total of 7 hours out of their day, as if time is not money. Like, please come to reality with us.
She's never had to work a day in her life, so she doesn't understand the actual value of a dollar. I mean, she just gets thrown money for the show and for her book and whatever the hell she's doing. I mean, she's already made, I mean, I know she's admitted to like one of the shows she did, whether it was a documentary or whatever, of getting $100,000. Like if I had gotten $100,000, trust me, there'd still be some of that to this day. Like some of us know how to save our money. And like she is talking about a $2,000 crib, like kids grow out of things. Like, when you're looking at stuff like that, like there's so many cribs that are like a 3 or 4-in-1 where you can like get a crib that folds out into like a bed at some point. Like, and I doubt that that's what that was.
I mean, like, maybe it's $2,000, so I would hope she gets 6 different uses out of it. But
you can get a crib like that for $300, you know, like you don't have
and
to
knowing Gypsy is probably just, you know, regular or Chanel or something to be, you know, expensive, like not actually useful.
With it being a $2,000 crib, I bet it was just a crib, honestly. Like
it could have been,
because usually if you got that kind of money to blow on a crib, you could just buy a whole better luxury bed, you know, like. What kind of crib needs to be $2,000? I mean, shoot, kids grow out of stuff. And not even just that. I mean, she just bought a $400 stroller that she's only going to be able to use for a few months because it's not one of those ones I think that like grows with you. I mean, I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like she's only going to be using the stroller for a limited time. Like, why spend $400 on it? You live in the bayou. You are not in Calabasas, girl. Like,
I know. She wants to be, though.
She wants to be, but it's just, I don't know. I the way this woman spends money, like I'm just surprised that Rod and Christy have not forced her to get an accountant or something. Like,
yeah,
if you're going on,
when she was talking,
was she on Mr. Morbid when she said, "I only have $50 to my name right now"?
She was on one of those. I think one of those lives. And she even told the doula when she had the doula over right after birth that like she doesn't really have any capacity of those things because she's never worked, because she's never had any responsibility, and she's never had to take any accountability for anything other than herself. And let's be honest, barely even herself, because she's really skirted away from a lot of her situations.
Well, Gypsy, you're going to be 35 years old this year. You're born in 1990. I mean, it's time to start taking some accountability for some things and teaching yourself some stuff. Just because you don't have that experience doesn't mean that you can't go seek it out. Go get yourself a financial advisor. You have a child now. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't be modeling this bad behavior for her if you truly
And
care
it seems
about
like
it.
Ken is, and some jobs don't allow you to take much time off, and that's probably a lot of what's going on too. But it seems like Ken was working his butt off like shortly after Aurora was born. And so it's like, I don't know. It seems like they need that money.
And Ken's got to be so annoyed every time he comes home. I bet Gypsy has already bought something.
She already spent his whole paycheck for the week. Yeah.
Yeah, like he comes home and there's like Amazon packages at the door. Like every time, I'm sure. It's just wow. I don't know. It blows my mind. But yeah, Ryan didn't have any nice things to say about Ken. He said was not happy that Ken called him a petty bitch last time. He brought that up several times. He said,
he
well,
also brought up like the grinder profile, made suggestions about that man's sexuality, which we all have been doing, but he just started, doing that openly here. So yeah, all this stuff was pretty messy, and I was here for it. I'm not mad at Ryan for being messy. I think we all deserve a time to be a little bit messy, and Gypsy has been hogging the messy spotlight. So you just go ahead and take it, Ryan.
I mean, I was here for it. I mean, he's definitely come at Ken over his, sexuality and stuff before in other lives, but I mean, it was just, so Ryan, like he kept making like the little jabs at them constantly throughout. I want to find some of our texts because I know we were texting for some of the things he was saying.
That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah. So let's see. He did do a lot of polls. He even started us off with a poll. And what I couldn't get over was like he must have done a live like not long before this, maybe like sometime in the last week, where he asked in a poll like if we felt bad for him when he was crying on the last episode.
I know. It was crazy.
I only heard the audio of it because somebody spoofed it, but it was hilarious because he's like, did y'all let me see like if I can even just find that video so we can just hear that audio because it's
I got it right here actually.
You got it? Okay, play it so we can hear the audio because that is hilarious. Like
it's the last live I mentioned that I got a text.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Asked if I was dating Amber J like 2 a.m. I did the live with Amber J, but guess who decided to block me?
No, wait, that's not the one. He rolls off the couch in there.
He was on the couch.
I'm sorry.
So on these videos, it's actually a girl that's spoofing him. It's not actually Ryan, but it does look like Ryan enough, honestly.
I found it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what y'all think of me crying in the episode. Touch y'all's heart. Let me do a quick poll. Did you feel it, Ryan? Like, did you feel like red? Yeah, she felt it. Blue, no. Like when I was crying in the episode, did your heart go out to me? Red, yes. Blue, no. I'm from Wales. That's cool. My heart broke for you. Thank you. Kind of cool. It was heartbreaking. Yeah, it was. Clip of it. I was like, God, I cried that much. 4 million likes. It was so sad. Well, there's a lot of blues. Some people didn't feel upset for me.
I think it's it's not done.
Yeah. Nobody felt for me. The reds.
Did you feel sad for me?
Nope.
A lot of blues. Not a lot of people some of y'all didn't feel bad for me.
Yes.
4 million likes and it's sad. It's sad. Like, I'm
is
just
sad.
so dead. I'm
This
so dead.
person is at 420 Miami. They've been posting a lot of those videos that we just watched. I
Yeah.
don't know if that's the real creator, but that's where I found it. So go ahead and check them out if you'd like.
Yeah, they've been impersonating Ryan to a T. It's been great. They have like the whole background looks like Ryan's actual house. Like it really does trip you up for a second. You almost think it's him, and then you see the fake baby and the glasses, or the fake baby and the fake dog.
I know.
Glasses broken, so it's not him. But even the baby, he put a goatee on it. It's just good. I just absolutely loved it. But that just that audio alone, just like do you feel bad for me? Ryan is such a star. Like I really think I don't even care to watch a Gypsy show anymore. If they just made a Ryan Ryan Life After Gypsy show, I would eat that shit up.
I totally would too. I know you and I had come up with several different names, that could happen, but there's all kinds of catchy names that he could use. I think Ryan could certainly have his own show. Or I know earlier we were talking about maybe like a Down in the Bayou type of show.
Mhm.
We could have Ryan, we could have Gypsy, we could maybe have, her weird friend that's always over there. And then maybe like a nemesis. Maybe
Yeah,
the
we
one
need a
that was driving past her house.
Yeah. A nemesis. I mean, Ryan is still the nemesis, but
He's a nemesis, but he's compassionate towards the Gypsy and he still loves her. So he's not a true nemesis.
yeah.
He's a scorned nemesis.
Yeah. But also with Ryan, he did not really buy her apology. He said that was just an effort to save face, and I think we all knew that. I think it was kind of obvious.
Like a PR stunt or something, yeah.
Yeah, because she released a bunch of stuff about Ryan. I mean, he was responding to the texts that she leaked. I don't think at the time he realized that she leaked those, although he should have, because how else would they have gotten to her friend? But
Agreed.
I think when they pretty much made it very apparent on the show that she leaked them. I mean, she said she sent them to her friend to post. So, yeah, so he wasn't happy about that. And he did end up leaking one text message where she asked if he was with Amber J. Like she didn't know who she what was going on in her life anymore, all these things but it wasn't that bad. That's pretty much the gist of what the text was, but he did that in response to her not only airing him out on TV but calling him the public, and he had a whole fit about being the public. So and then in retaliation, Gypsy released some medical information about Ryan that he is he's in recovery. And yeah, that just was a lot. And she got a ton of backlash for that. And then she put out that apology. So he was not buying the apology and said that, it was just a whole publicity stunt, like you said. I thought there was a whole bear outside your window, but never.
No, it's my tree shaking around. We have like a little bit of a storm coming in, I think. But those are my leaves.
Like a whole bear.
Sometimes I get freaked out by those low hanging leaves sometimes too. Like I think there's people outside, especially at night. Yeah.
Oof, scared me for you for a second. I was
it's not a bear. I'm safe.
Ryan Bear in the Big Blue House out there, like
it could possible.
I like to call Ryan Bear in the Big Blue House. He just looks like him. I don't know. But
he also gave an explanation on his behalf of why he didn't drive that 7-hour trip. It was a little bit different than what Ann and I were thinking we were going to hear. I guess he basically just said he didn't want to do them really any favors at that point, which I get. But I think, the time is money kind of thing. Having someone drive themselves all the way out and show up in person to some kind of baby situation that you weren't involved in, it's a lot to ask.
He said all that on the show, and I think maybe because he said all that on the show, he didn't feel a need to say it again here, but that was his concern on the show. But he did also mention here that he also didn't want to give them the satisfaction of putting Ken's name on the birth certificate because he knew at that point that that's what she was going to do. Like, she's put it down as she was going to do Blanchard, but once he kind of put two and two together, realized they were going to use Urker, he was like, I'm going to give them the satisfaction of them putting Urker on their birth certificate and being like, oh, it's my baby. And I'm like, Ryan, it isn't your baby, though.
Right.
Like, just... Ryan's my favorite character. He's problematic, but he's fun.
He is. So among some of the polls, I didn't really write any of them down. I'm trying to figure out from our text what
There were
but I
so
know
many.
there was the one about, should I write a book? There was another one about, would you guys watch a show if I was on a show, or do you want me to be on a show? That he asked if we wanted Amber J to show up, and it sounds like we both voted no on that one for the same reason. I actually just read that one for the first time right now. I must have been distracted when we were texting it, but yeah, I voted no for the same reason. I wanted him to talk more about Gypsy. I feel like I was left a little bit thirsty.
Ryan loves to do that to you, though.
I think it's my personal opinion. I saw that he wrote something up, or he was kind of reading from a script from the beginning, and he kept referencing back and looking at it. And at times when he would look at it, he would sort of clam up, his face would get red. He'd sort of do this thing with his lips, and he'd touch his face a lot. And I think that there were things on that paper that he intended to say that he ended up not saying.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. I think when he announced his live, he had a lot more steam under him, but then you give him all day to think on it. And yeah, Ryan's one of those people, you got to act in the moment, like,
yeah. And that's what he said
to the public.
He's like, when you guys catch me angry, I go a little bit quicker, whatever. So I think there will always be more to come, with Ryan, of course. And he, like you said, he's a star. I mean, he's going to be out here catching all the rays, I think, for as long as people will allow it.
Yep. And I'm here for it.
Same.
I'm assuming there will be more lives, but I haven't seen anything from Gypsy yet. In fact, I'm about to look and see if she's responded to anything. But I mean, Ryan was still pretty. He wasn't like the nicest to them, but he also wasn't like holding totally back from them. But I don't think that it was problematic enough for Gypsy to actually respond. I mean, everything that Ryan said was pretty like we knew. Like, we knew that, he was going to be pissed off about Krusty, whatever. And it's just good to know, too, that, like, I always thought it, but, Ryan said, Christy never liked him since day one. In fact, he tried texting her when him and Gypsy, like, first became serious and let them know who he was, like, I'm Ryan, I'm Gypsy's boyfriend, I'd like to, meet up with you guys, kind of get to know you a little bit. And she didn't respond to his text for a full year until they got engaged.
Right.
And it was probably only to try to talk them out of it,
That's probably true. I think that's possible.
Oh, a little live update from Ryan. He has a YouTube channel coming out after his TikTok. He said, my TikTok live from last night has been uploaded. Link in the bio. #Team Ryan.
He wants all of his own views, and get it, sir, because I can't tell you how many people have reposted, and people still will, of course, but at least you start to kind of gain some ownership over your own content. TikTok is kind of weird in that way. It seems like on a live, you only get what happens in the live, and there's no rewatching, and so you don't get any views afterwards, right?
He also posted an old live from 4:30, so like April 30th.
Oh, okay.
So
is it what's his channel called? Ryan Anderson.
So his channel is called The Ryan Anderson. And Pixie's obviously the cover photo, and then you got Ryan as the main photo. He's got 1,000 subscribers right now. His first video has 1,000 views, which is the live from last night. The full thing is a hour and 42 minutes. And then he's got another video that he just posted an hour ago, which was a live from April. So I'm curious on why he went all the way back to April to post one, but apparently this is where Ryan's lives are going to be. And he also has a couple of shorts, one of Walking Pixie, and he also has one to, introduce him to YouTube. And on his live, he was like concerned about starting a YouTube channel because Gypsy and Ken just announced theirs. But I much prefer to watch Ryan's. I mean, Gypsy's is all going to be about like her being a mom and the products that she likes, products I can't afford, but cheese and rice that she can't even afford. But
I can't buy.
It's It's Ryan Anderson, but the channel is at the Ryan Anderson, like the channel name. Let me see if I can find it on mine because I was able to pull it up through TikTok. But yeah, definitely go follow Ryan.
Sure.
Because I'm sure the Ryan Anderson.
The Ryan. I can't
Well, it's
even
all
get
one
over
word
that. I know.
on the Ryan. He is the Ryan Anderson.
The one and only.
Actually, this is it right here.
Can never
Wonder if
be
I-
duplicated.
Here you go, share channel. But yes, I'm gonna have to subscribe. Maybe Chick Chat should subscribe. It'd be the only person we're subscribed to because we're not subscribed to anyone.
So true.
Maybe we should. Anyways, yeah. So I mean, I don't know. Do you got anything else to touch on with Ryan? I'm pretty.
I think we covered quite a bit in our first week cap. I am assuming we're probably going to do this a little bit more often. I don't know if actually weekly, but we will be back often. We have all these shows that we are interested in, and sometimes the drama gets, hotter and more fast paced after the seasons. So I think at least probably for the next couple of weeks, we'll be keeping our eye, especially on the Teen Mom people and the Gypsy Rose situation, just because those seasons just wrapped up. And then, yeah, of course, any other news of shows that we watch. So, but yeah, I feel like we've covered just about all of it for this week.
Yep. We're gonna try to come on as weekly as possible. It just depends on what's actually going on throughout the week as well and our own schedules. So yeah, just be patient with that. But if when we come back, we'll have a lot to talk about, I'm sure.
Yes, if there's not a whole lot going on, or if one of us is busy or whatever, then we probably will push it off to the following week. But yeah, I think that this is fun. I think it'll be nice to kind of build some people coming and watching us and spending our Fridays together.
Yes, and any final thoughts before we head off for the day? I mean, we just did a Sister Wives recap live, and now we've wrapped this up. So we've had our working day.
Yeah, we've been here since, I don't know, about 4:30. So
I guess one thing I'll check super quick before we go, other than Gypsy uploaded more videos onto her YouTube, but they're nothing to do with Ryan. Just want to see if Tyler had anything to say about the text that leaked, but nope, of course not. So yeah, I mean, they had an episode drop, but that's pretty much it. See if Catelyn's got anything really quick. Nope. Okay. Yep, they're really sticking to that. They ain't talking about it. So
I hope they do. I think they do need to kind of back off a little bit. So
all right. Any last thoughts, chat, before we go? Give it like
speak now or hold your peace until next week.
Speak now.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us. Thank you, NBlue. Thank you, User Alien. Thank you, Miss Omi. Almost forgot. Yeah. Thank you, Miss Omi. And we will catch you all next week. Don't forget to like our video for us if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. And please, and most importantly, click the share button, copy the link, copy it again, copy it another time, and we'll see you next week.
We will see you next week. Remember, reduce, reuse, recycle, Rihanna, and goodbye. And get off your couch if you've been on that too long. You don't want to get.
If you've been watching us all day, maybe take a walk. I think me and you should take a walk. We should promote healthy circulation.
You don't want to be Amber, that's for sure.
Yes.
Go out in your backyard, watch someone do something if you have to, but
hire someone to work and watch them.
Yep, on the boat. What boat does she have? Anyways. All right. Goodbye, Chick Chat.
Goodbye.